राष्ट्र अभयदान है।
लोक योग क्षेमनी राष्ट्र अभयदान है।
सेवारत व्यक्ति व्यक्ति कार्य का ही प्राण है।
सेवा।
Privilege for me to welcome and invite you all on behalf of Sewa International to this 13th Sewa International Conference in Phoenix, Arizona. This is the first time we are doing here. This is the 13th Sewa International Conference. And Sewa was founded in 2008 and is part of larger movement that started in India about 1989 and is active in 20 countries today. Sewa serves humanity irrespective of race, color, religion, gender or ethnicity. So it is an occasion for all of us to celebrate an opportunity, and it is an opportunity also to momentarily look back, but a golden ticket to chart the path forward.
Next year, at least basic responsibilities, chapter coordinator and national chapter presidents, those also perhaps will be included in this annual meeting also. So today I am just going to share the national responsibilities which are there. So as in any organization, in USA also, we have a board. All the organizations are governed by the board. And people over there, Rajini ji, Radhika ji and Jain ji, full time, and then there is additional. There are more part-timers which are not listed here. Then Bindu Madhav ji, specifically for the Kodugu.
Not for ourselves, using this wishing tree. So the Sewa for all life is what is called for in this new transformation of humanity. Sewa for all life, other life, before serving ourselves. Because they are in much dire state than we are. They are dying. They're eating plastic and dying. Have we cleaned the ocean? No. We have left a mess for them, and we have to clean up. So we have created something amazing as a species. We have to be proud of that. We have done something absolutely amazing as a species. Let me explain to you what that is. I call it we are the thermostat species of the planet. So here is what we have done. 250 million years ago, the carbon dioxide levels in the atmosphere were 2000 parts per million. 6 to 7 times as much as we have today. So it is thick with carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is the greenhouse gas. It is a blanket that the earth has around herself to keep herself warm. Without carbon dioxide, without greenhouse gases, the temperature on Earth will be 0 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's because of greenhouse gases, it's 60 degrees Fahrenheit now. Then from 250 million years ago to today, the sun has been getting warmer and warmer. So the sun is now 5% warmer than it was 250 million years ago. So as the sun gets warmer and warmer, the earth has been shedding her blankets. So the carbon dioxide levels get lower and lower over time. And then over the last 3 million years, we have been going up and down into an ice age and back on Earth. During an ice age, life struggles to survive because the carbon dioxide levels are down at 180 parts per million. And you get a mile of ice on top of Chicago. Life struggles to survive. And then you get a short period that's called interglacial period, when the carbon dioxide levels go up to 280 parts per million, the temperature rises by about 15 degrees Fahrenheit on Earth. So the Earth has been undergoing this huge temperature variations of 4 to 15 degrees up and down.
Very good to see all of you, and I think so far the biggest attendance in the Sewa International Meetings, isn't it? So far. So congratulations to all of you. I heard that the number is 108, which is a sacred number for us. So there is something pretty sacred about it. And it's the 13th conference. So in the Western culture, they don't consider it as a very sacred number. But actually in the Mayan culture, 13 is a sacred number. Because they say that in our human body, there are some 13 joints. And for each one of them, when they do their style of havan, they do 13 offerings. So you see, 13 also is sacred. And that is something that connects us all, because we are inspired by the Hindu worldview, the Dharmic worldview, that everything is sacred. As Dr. Shailesh Rauji mentioned, that all life is sacred. In fact, everything that is animate and inanimate, for us is sacred. And thank you, Dr. Rao, for the wonderful Jnana Ganga that was flowing, and we were all immersing ourselves because we couldn't go to the Kumbh Mela. And that is why Professor Rao came here to really wonderful, and that knowledge is not just bookish knowledge, his knowledge. It's knowledge that he has experienced, something that comes from a very, very profound being active. In our tradition, the definition of Pandit is Yah Kriyavan Sa Panditaha. Who is knowledgeable, who is a real scholar, somebody who is active, proactive, which Dr. Rao is, and we are so glad that we could benefit from the profound knowledge that he shared with us. So we are all inspired by that, and in our chapters throughout the year, all of us sitting here, we have dedicated our time so much that all of us put together, all the Sewa International USA volunteers, if you read in the report, we have given more than 145,000 volunteer hours. That is really fantastic. That we are inspired by this one idea that we want to serve. And as we remain active in our own chapters, in our own responsibilities, obviously once in a while, we all need to get together, one, to feel inspired and motivated once again. In this conference, this is one of the objectives, that we come here, we meet our fellow travelers in Sewa, we learn from each other, we learn from all the planned sessions that are there, and a lot of thought has gone into planning of the sessions. If you go through the agenda, it is a variety of things, all what we have been doing, but getting to know in detail what is the thinking behind it, learning a lot of skills that will be imparted here. So I think one is that, of course, learning part. Then in the free time, in between the sessions, when we interact with one another, sitting on the same table for meals or any other occasion, I think we are going to learn even more, because our interactions, our conversations, they go deeper, and we'll get to know that what we are doing in our chapter, how others are dealing with it. Sometimes while in our chapter we are very proud of what we do in our chapter, and rightfully so. But here when we hear that others are doing in a different way, it really gives a different kind of feeling. Hey, this can be approached in a different way also. And that enriches our own experience, because here our collective experience is what will come into play. So I think
it's been a very encouraging conference, 13th conference, national conference that we are having in Phoenix. The arrangements are fantastic. Sewa is a 501c3 non-profit, which is a humanitarian organization. One of our work that we are known for and we are passionate about is disaster recovery, which includes all the phases of preparedness, rescue, relief, as well as rehabilitation. Currently, we are running relief projects for California Camp Fire, as well as rehabilitation projects for Harvey, disaster, which happened about 18 months ago, but still the problems are going on. We also get involved locally in the community, and our projects are meaningful to the community that we live in. For instance, we provide tutoring services in 4 of our chapters, and to the refugee, immigrant, and minority community. And we also do a lot of volunteer-based activities, training our young high school as well as college-going students in the joy of giving. We want them to understand the joy of giving. So these are the primary things that we do. So we also have international projects. In India, we have a number of projects. In Pakistan, in Nepal, in Colombia, and with the SGDs in Iraq. There we are doing some development projects. And so this conference especially is the largest attended conference. We have nearly 100 people attending registered for this conference, and people from across the US, from 35 of our chapters, 19 of the chapters are represented, and they have come in good numbers, and they share, they express, they help us direct as the executive team. They help us direct which is the direction, what are the things that we are doing good in Sewa, what are the things that we need to do better, and they ultimately, for Sewa, volunteers are the energy, they are the foundation.
Typical Sewa style is Sewa jacket. So Sachin ji is converting completely to Sewa style.
We started from eastern part of Arunachal, so like almost the eastern boundary of India, and then went towards the west. Visited a variety of places. The first one we went to was a place called Namsai, which is where the second school is coming up. It should be done in the next few months. It is also going to develop as a skill development center and so on. So we visited that, then went to Rivaj, which is a great sort of place where they document all the different tribes, their culture, their language, and museum. It's a very good place. So that was fun to watch. And we went to other places like Pasighat and so on, before we ended up in Raga, which is where the school is. Going through this, it was clear that Arunachal has a lot of diversity. So there are like 26 major tribes and several minor tribes. Each one has their own language, own culture, different food, different religion even, and so on. And so it's very varied. But one thing that was common is they fed me a lot. So much food, like it was insane amounts of food. The people are very easygoing and nice. Like, you hardly see people as nice as you get in the Northeast across the board. And so eventually when we ended up in Raga for the inauguration of the school, we were hearing the stories of what the school used to be before. So it used to be a hut, so it was not a constructed thing before. And then the rainy season, which extends from April through November almost. Yeah, and it's pretty heavy rain, like it's not a drizzle, it's very heavy rain in the Northeast. Many of us have learned in the geography classes how the highest rainfall in the world is like Cherrapunji Mountain, one of those places, it's close by. So it's very heavy rain, and so the kids used to sit in knee-deep water in their classes, which was interesting to hear. And then I was hearing in my head, I was hearing my colleagues from the US complaining about, oh, the class size in our public school is too large, it's like 31 people. Like, yeah, right. Exactly. But I think hearing about, okay, these facilities are really bad. There is no toilet. There's literally no toilet. You just put up a I think, a tarpaulin, and that's all. You go behind it, like it is impossible to go. It was really bad. And so those were the conditions that the kids were sort of studying in. Clearly, a lot needed to get done. And so we've built a school. We are also going to start looking at building toilets across the Northeast. I think Jayantiji is going to help us out.
Jayantiji is there at the back.
Correct. She's going to help us out with that because there's clearly a huge need.
Huge.
But I think sort of hearing those stories of the kids there was very eye-opening. Doing research on the internet on where there is need is one, but actually seeing it with your own eyes and hearing the stories from the people themselves is a totally different experience.
And I think if this has not inspired you to go into India and do the Sewa Yatra that Arunji talks about so often, I would love to hear if you had an anecdotal moment where you felt, oh, this was funny, this was cute. We would love you to share that with our audience.
So I think in the Namsai school, so the school wasn't built when we went there, it was under construction. So the kids were still sort of in the old hut. And because there's only one hut, but different grades or different standards, and so they teach in different corners of those huts. And then I think on the one side, it was really hot, and so I think there was some problem in the roof, and so you could see all the children step by step, minute by minute, stepping away from that and going into the other corner, even though they're in a different grade. And it was sad and funny at the same time. They were basically like, sure, education is fine, but the sun is too much, and so keep moving. So there are things like that.
Yeah, I know. And these things are for you.
I think it's not one, it's actually, I don't feel that I'm qualified to sort of give advice or so on, but I can talk about how I think about this, and if that is useful, good. If not, you can figure out your own way on how to think about this. So, I think one thing that I've been taught since childhood is gratitude. Like, be grateful for what we have and help other people who may not be as fortunate as we are. It is easy to take things for granted because you had them yesterday, you have them today, you will have them tomorrow. That doesn't make those things less important. There are many people who have much less. And so I think with gratitude comes this notion of to whom much is given, much is expected. And so all of us have a lot more than most of the world. Like, we are better off than 99% of the world. And so we should be helping out. That was sort of the general theme that goes through my mind. The other bit is I've always had something that people in Amazon call bias for action. So I don't like to get stuck or just think or pontificate. I like to come with, okay, what is the action? And we talked about focused action today, right? Clearly there is a problem, something has to be done, let's figure out what needs to get done and let's just do it. Maybe we may fail, parts of it may not work out as well as we hope. That's okay, we will learn from it and do something differently. So I think taking the first step is really hard, it's probably the hardest step. But once you take the first step, you can take the second one, that is easier, the third is easier, it keeps getting easier. But taking the first step, I think, is super important. In my experience, a lot of my friends, as well as me, in the past, always thought of doing something, but never took the first step. And so I think that is a huge differentiator between actually doing something and just thinking about it. Once I sort of grow old, I'm like 60, 70 years old, if I look back and I feel I should have done more, that regret is bad. I would rather be like, tried everything we could, many things worked out, some did not, that is okay. But regret that didn't do enough would be really terrible. I guess I blame my parents and grandparents for sort of putting that kida in my brain, if you will.
Yes.
But
feeling it in all the time.
right, but that's how it is. And sort of the third important thing that I've thought about is the importance of role models. Right? For me, I had many role models growing up, as I talked about in the past, and then some of my colleagues on how they are very open in sort of donating and so on. That was very important for me to realize. I think broadly in the Indian community, we are the richest community in the US by far. Right? The second one is actually there's a huge gap between us and the second community. But if you look at how much we donate as a community, it is actually 1/3 of what we ideally should be doing. So there's a huge gap in terms of what we should be doing versus what we do. And I think that gap we have to fill. Like it is our responsibility to fill that gap at some point. And so one thing in my mind has always been, let's start with donating 1% of our income every year. There are people donating 10% every year, from a maid to a software engineer. Like I just gave you a couple of examples. There are many examples, right? We could do 1%. Let's start with 1%. Get comfortable with it for a few years. Then go to 2%. Get comfortable with it for a few years. Go on. I don't think our lives are going to change substantially with 1%. But the people who will benefit from that, their lives will change substantially. And so,
what is HIV/AIDS? When I was 16 years old, I read in newspaper. I got to know about HIV/AIDS, and I was West Bengal AIDS Prevention Control Society, and I got trained. And then I started to serve to society. And when I was 19 years old, I became an HIV activist, and that was how I started from my 16 years of my life to 20, that 4 years for society work. I was I think every person has a role model in their life, and my role model is Swami Vivekananda. When I read his book, Amar Bharat, where I found that one quotations, that if you want to see world, see India, India is within world. And if you'll go to the world, you will find each and every corner one India. And that was my first intentions. 27th of May, 2004, I have started my journey. First in India. And 28 states and 5 union territory, I was traveled whole India. It took me almost 3 years, India and neighbor countries. And after that, I started to travel for all Central Asia to Europe. So my third inspirations behind of this journey, I read a book about Bimal Mukherjee. He's the first Indian globetrotter who traveled 1926 to 1937, and his book was published 1998. When I read it in 2000, I was really very fascinated about his Tu Chakai Dunia, 2 wheels into the world. And I was thinking that how I can connect my travel with HIV/AIDS awareness and the journey which I wanted to towards self. And exactly that is the way how I came after India trip, then Pakistan, Afghanistan, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan, Kazakhstan to Russia. So all Central America I traveled, almost 24 countries, and then came to Europe. So Europe I traveled 45 countries, and that travel took me to North Pole of the world, Greenland. After that I came to Africa. 52 countries I traveled in Africa and 10 countries in Middle East. And after that I came to South America, 13 countries with South Pole, Antarctica. Then from Caribbean, 8 countries, Central America, 8 countries I traveled, Panama, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Honduras, Salvador, Guatemala, Belize to Mexico. And I entered the border of Texas, I think almost 8 months back. So there I found that America is a huge country, so it took me quite a long time. I traveled 27 states of United States of America. Texas, New Mexico, Colorado, Oklahoma, Nebraska, Tennessee, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, Florida, South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia, West Virginia, Washington DC, Pennsylvania, Maryland, New Jersey, New York to Boston. And all the way I went to all the way to Quebec City, then Montreal, Ottawa, Toronto, and came all the way to Cleveland, and where I met our President Srinathji. I was really very happy to meet him. When I was explained him that I made some of Sewa Karta when I was in Houston and even some places in Georgia. So I was really very happy to meet Swadeshji in Georgia, Houston, Hitalji, and also I especially would like to remember that name in Woodlands, our Sachinji. So I was really very happy to meet Sewa, and Sewa is doing a wonderful job. I was thinking that how I can be part of and I can convey this message that what Sewa is doing more other 40 countries. So I will continue all the way from here to all the way Alaska, and Alaska to I will continue Russia, Siberia, Mongolia, China, Japan, Korea, Philippines, New Zealand and Australia, then Sumatra, Malaysia, Indonesia, Myanmar, Bangladesh, India. So it is a 191 countries travel, 2004 to 2020. I will travel almost 200,000 kilometers of this world on bicycle, and it will take 20 million people. So my future plan to build a global village in back to India, and that is my future vision, that it will be ecological and sustainable village, and that is what I can positively try to contribute this world. And I'm really so fortunate to wherever I'm going, I was always welcomed by people, and I found that the word that people are my God, were always they are supporting me and helping me. I was captured by Taliban 24 days in Afghanistan. I was more than 18 times robbed. I was 6 times beaten because skin-hated people couldn't understand why I'm traveling. Black people thought I'm white people thought I'm black. I couldn't complain that if I'm brown and I exist in this world. So that took me, and it was, I got stolen my 3 bicycles, Bulgaria, Poland and Germany, but it's never stopped because I never learned the word of give up. I thought that this is the inspirations which I found and which was imposed by Swami Vivekananda, and that's always carried from one place to another place. And this is the way how I would like to find the world, and I'm writing my book, The World Biking Odyssey 2004 to 2020, and that's how I can explain this world, how beautiful. Thank you so much for giving.
Honestly, that means I am recommending them for one more award.
Thank you very much. It's been a great time.